If someone says there are rules to follow or easy steps that will guarantee your success at songwriting, they are lying to you and they probably want your money. I'm Aryn Michelle. You can call me the Song Guru, and today's lesson is that songwriting is a craft and a discipline that doesn't have rules. There are plenty of helpful guidelines, but if there are rules in songwriting, they're made to be broken. When I first started teaching songwriting at a music college, I inherited a lot of the textbooks that my predecessor had used. One of the textbooks was called 6 Steps to Songwriting Success. There were helpful tips in this book. I hated the title. There are no guaranteed steps to songwriting success. And I see people on social media trying to sell you classes all the time that say, just follow my program or just follow these rules and you're guaranteed to write a great song. This is just not true. There are plenty of helpful guidelines that you can learn to be a better songwriter, to take your craft more seriously, but these are not intended to be rules that can never be broken. And here, let me prove it to you. When we talk about guidelines, we talk about things that work well most of the time, but definitely not always. So let's start with something like song form. A typical song form is something like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. Or maybe if you're in a pop or dance genre, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus. But there are loads and loads of popular songs that break traditional song form and still work really well. For example, let's consider this song by Panic at the Disco called High Hopes. This is one of their biggest songs. So you would assume a song that was chart topping, super popular would follow all the rules, right? Wrong. Things start out pretty normal with this song form. It opens with the chorus, but then goes verse, pre-chorus, chorus. That's pretty straightforward. And then things start to get interesting. So we have verse 2, and then we have a bridge. Usually bridges don't come after verse 2. So we have verse 2, bridge, then a return to the pre-chorus, and everybody knows the pre-chorus comes right before the chorus, right? Because that's why it's called a pre-chorus. But not in this song. We have a second bridge in this song between the second pre-chorus and the second iteration of the chorus. So in that middle section, it goes verse 2, bridge 1, pre-chorus, bridge 2, chorus. That's super weird. And I bet if you think for a minute, you can think of a lot of songs that break from traditional song form and can still be super popular and connect with people. For example, one of the biggest songs of all time, Bohemian Rhapsody, does not follow traditional modern song form at all. Technically, it's a classical rhapsody. It's episodic, moving from section to section, very emotional. It's kind of all over the place. And yet, people love it. So in song form, learning the guidelines of what typically works most of the time is super helpful, but it doesn't mean you have to be constricted by those guidelines. They aren't rules. And song form is not the only area in songwriting where there are guidelines that you can veer away from really easily. Let's talk about melody for a second. Most of the time, it's really good to have variety in your melody in different song sections. So you have a verse melody that kind of builds anticipation, leading towards a chorus melody that's got a great hook and is really memorable, perhaps a contrasting bridge melody or post-chorus that does something different. However, let's consider the song We Found Love by Calvin Harris featuring Rihanna. I was listening to the song on the radio one day and I noticed that the verse melody is essentially exactly the same as the chorus melody. That should be a rule that you can't break, right? You can't steal your chorus melody and make it your verse melody. Because of the song's genre, it definitely helps them get away with this big veering away from the guideline that your verse and chorus melody have to be different, but it works. How does it work? In this song, there's a big guideline that's broken because the melody and the verse and the chorus are the same. However, the lyric is really different from verse to chorus. The verse lyric is more descriptive. It doesn't have a lot of lyric repetition. The chorus lyric is more central to the emotional big idea. It features the title and it is highly repetitive. This is a great principle of songwriting to keep in mind, that if you're breaking a guideline and breaking it hard, it's probably good to lean on some of the other songwriting guidelines to help bring some balance to your song if you're doing something risky and outside of the box. So again, there are no rules in songwriting. If we're talking about consistency in point of view, consistency in rhyme scheme, syllable count, and your line length, there are lots of guidelines that you can learn and practice to become a better songwriter. But if you want to break those guidelines and break them on purpose because you have artistry on your side and you know it feels right, then do it. So for our playtime activity for this video, I'm going to encourage you to break the same guideline that Calvin Harris and Rihanna broke in We Found Love. What I would like you to do is try to write a really great melody. Then after you write this great melody, I want you to see if it can be your verse and also your chorus of a song. Make sure you use my tips to differentiate your verse from your chorus through your lyric. Remember, your chorus is going to be more focused on the big idea, more emotional, maybe it has the title, and it's probably going to be more repetitive than the verse lyric. I hope you enjoy that activity, and I hope that you remember, if you want to write songs about your life, about the things you love, or if you just want to break all the songwriting rules, I can help you with that. I'm Aryn Michelle, the Song Guru. I'll see you next time. The Song Guru.